It's time for a reboot. Not a do-over, but a do-everything. A time to hike this, taste that, camp here, and road trip there. In a place that's wide open for new memories. South Dakota. Out here, adventure goes with the territory. Whether you're backpacking in Badlands National Park or diving into Lewis and Clark Lake. When you're ready, get back to nature and back to what you love. Get inspired at TravelSouthDakota.com.
O'Reilly.
This is Derek's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
After the third time jump-starting my car, I finally realized my battery was dying. So I stopped by O'Reilly to have it checked. They tested it right there in the parking lot. It was bad, real bad. But they helped me find the right battery for my car and even installed it for free. Now my car starts like new.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
You got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans. That's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd. Here with me, I have Rich Latta. Man. What's going on, Rich?
Not much, man. Ready to talk about the NBA All-Star Game, the UFC. What else?
The UFC.
What's going on? Yeah, in the UFC.
We always talk about snafus with entertainment and their content. Like, apparently, the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League leaked on, or is it Warner? Whatever the streaming service that's going to hold it when it eventually comes out, in a week or so. It ended up leaking. It ended up being on, if you clicked on Tom and Jerry, you can watch this show or this movie that the people have been anticipating, or this version of this movie that's been anticipated. I'm anticipating because that shit's going to suck, because Zack Snyder is not good with superhero movies. But that's besides the point. Speaking of duds.
Yeah. Man, AEW Revolution.
AEW Revolution. I haven't done a deep dive. You probably looked into it. So what is the worst AEW pay-per-view officially? Is it this pay-per-view, or is it the All Out from last year?
It's AEW All Out for sure.
Okay.
And I'll back that up by being in person at All Out. All Out was definitely worse than this show, because this show had too many things I liked, in addition to it was a very weird show. It was just I was watching with Jeremy. I was watching with Swerve. I was watching with Josh and Dan. And I kept, there were about 3 matches in a row. I was like, man, wrap this shit up. They're going too long. And it just seemed like the feeling was off the entire night. Something wasn't right. And then, leads up to the big explosion that wasn't. So, yeah. But yeah, it's definitely AEW All Out. And then you think about the tooth and nail, the fucking mimosa match, the Matt Hardy.
Is that the big swole match, the tooth and nail?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah,
forgot about that one. And another thing is people like the Sting Darby versus Starks.
Oh, that was awesome.
Starks and whatever match a lot more than me. I was just I I was fucking bored.
I like that one. I thought that match was awesome.
I was like, what the fuck ever. Like, this is this shit does not interest me in the slightest. Like, oh, okay, like there's 20 guys that Sting has. Cage kills one of them. They all run away. Then all of a sudden Hobbs comes out, and then this is story about the fucking bat. I'm just like, this is some like Sin City. I bet you can't even lift that cannon shit. He's like, sure I can. Like, whatever, man. Like, I didn't care, but whatever. It was shot cool, but it's like it was a mess for me. Not a mess, but it's just like I don't see why they couldn't just have a match and not do a plunder match with a 3-foot drop through the shit, and like they fight throughout the building and people are tracking it, and I'm like, and it's in this like abandoned warehouse looking shit. I'm like, this is like some shit that Batman would swoop into and just like beat the shit out of everybody. It's like, y'all selling drugs in this bitch. Hold this forearm. Hold this batarang. Hold this smoke bomb. I'm finna basically wrap all of y'all up for the police to come get y'all. Y'all definitely selling dope out this bitch. So,
wow.
So for me, I was like, what is going on? Like, but yeah. So
we'll get to it.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. But.
Yeah. For me, it was 3 matches I thought all were some level of very good, or some points even were great, but then something happened. There
was lots of and I feel like, I came on this show last week and said if things don't go right, like there's gonna be a lot of stuff coming back to haunt them, and then talked about the lack of singles like matches that were on the show that were elite singles matches, like it wasn't there. And then like other warts just start like exposing themselves when, the show's not going well. You start seeing the overinflation of everyone being on the show, just cutting things down. And the Stardom show that we reviewed, as a standalone a couple days ago. If y'all haven't heard that, check it out. Like that show, they had like essentially like 5 big matches or whatever, like on the the singles, whatever. And I want to say Momo Nanai was like 10 minutes.
Yeah, it was 10 minutes.
So like Matt Hardy and Hangman Page went 15, like, and that felt like it went like 18. And they're not even the worst offender, really, to me.
Yeah, that match was fine. Like, or not fine.
Yeah.
I would dare even say that match is like some.
I think they saved it by the end.
For me, it just felt like that did not feel like a pay-per-view match to me. That felt more like a 9 o'clock Dynamite match. Like it. And that's not necessarily anything wrong with that, but it's like I don't care to see Matt Hardy on pay-per-view at this day and age.
Mm-hmm. And then the surprise, man.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. There's a surprise. It's like Ethan Page. Ethan Page is a good wrestler, but it's like I
like
fine.
him. I think he can be. I think he could be a star of some degree. He can talk. I think he has he's definitely shown his dedication to physical fitness.
Yeah, he's definitely
and transforming his. Yeah, so like, I think he's gonna be a valuable like mid-card heel, someone that would be right in there. But let's go through the show and we can get all to it, because I got plenty of talking points, and I'm sure you got plenty of jokes. So
I mean, I got jokes. I normally always have jokes, but I think the thing for me was just like there were so many things. There's like overpromise, or you overpromise this what you get. You're doing the then there was like stuff where it's like, oh well, let's do the brass ring. I'm just like, that doesn't. I don't fucking care, dude. Like, just put something up there so they can go grab, instead of making more jabs at WWE. Like, I'm here to see you. Like, what do you have to do? Yeah. So we can run through the show.
Yeah. So I guess pre-show. We normally skip the pre-shows, but this one's kind of eventful. So Britt Baker comes out and she says Reba can't wrestle or whatever, but she brings out Maki Itoh. So Maki Itoh comes out and does all the singing. Crowd goes nuts, and because they didn't recognize she was going to be there. She got a bigger reaction than the other 2 surprises, which is fucking hilarious. And then they took on Thunder Rosa and Riho, and this went about 15 minutes. This was actually pretty good. They ended up getting the win. Britt Baker and Maki Itoh did when the first of many run-ins during a match. Reba hit, I believe it was Thunder Rosa with the crutch she was holding, and got the pin. Britt Baker did, so that kind of it's set up like this, thing we'd see later on in the show.
Did Excalibur point out the feud between Thunder Rosa and Maki Itoh from the beginning of 2020 in Tokyo?
I'm pretty sure he did.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he did.
Okay,
because he's awesome. Like he said some stuff. I forgot.
I just wanted to point out that there's old country beef
what
between
match
them.
It was.
I'll just point out there was old country. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I forgot what match it was, but it was like it was the Hikaru, Shida, and Riho Mizunami match when he did like this big expedition dump. And I was like, that's why he's the best commentator in the business right now. Like, he just runs through that shit. Like, and it sounds like something like he just knows. Like, it didn't even sound like he's studying or whatever. But the first match on the show was the Young Bucks versus Jericho and MJF for the tag team titles. I love the Bucks gear here. This was it was weird. The Bucks looked like they wanted to start doing one thing and then it just morphed into another in the match. I thought it was okay. It was not what I like when it comes to the Young Bucks, but they're not going to wrestle someone that wants to do their style all the time. Chris Jericho's in there, MJF is in there. I thought they were good at different points, but this was a victim of something that would happen a lot during this match or during this show. They keep going past the peak, just lots of unnecessary stuff, and they could have chopped something off of this, I think. But I think people like this match more than me. And it's another defense for the Bucks. The Inner Circle is definitely going to break up. Probably Wednesday, if I had to guess. And this is another step in that, with Jericho taking the pin, him giving that elbow to Wardlow. So now he's finally crossed Wardlow, as MJF has won over everybody else. There's no Sammy there. And that interview they cut later in the show just feels like we about to get this old nigga out of here. But yeah, man, I don't know. I don't necessarily need to see the Young Bucks have to play tough guys. Like, there are people that don't necessarily even do that well. Like Ric Flair, for example. Like, he always wrestled like Ric Flair. Like, that's what I like. And I like when the Bucks wrestle like the Bucks. And I don't think they necessarily got a chance to do that.
Yeah, so this would be, for me, the second pay-per-view match in a row where I'm watching the Young Bucks and they've given me the vibe, or not giving me, like, they have put out the story and laid out this story that something personal has happened on to them and they have to avenge said injustice. Whether it was back in November with FTR when they injure Matt and all that stuff, and they put their title shot chances on the line in the future if they can't beat them. And then you have this where they beat up Papa Buck. And, like, you didn't have to do this if this the match. If that's the match you wanted to do, like, you didn't have to do that storyline. Like, you could have left that. You could have left your dad to fuck home. And, like, that's what bothers me watching, like, these last two Young Bucks matches. Like, don't make it some personal thing where it's going to be a fight when you don't want to have a quote-unquote fight type match. Like, that's fine. Like, if you want to do your thing, but don't put this shit out here and have to watch you do flips and, like, your super kicks are cool or whatever else, but you do that in every fucking match. That's not any more physical or grudgy than the shit you normally do. Like, it's fine. And the one thing that annoyed me in this match while watching it was, like, there were so many spots in this match. It's like almost like a handful of them where it's like, I don't know if it's bad camera work, bad camera direction, or just flat out bad match layout, where there's somebody that is clearly about to run or jump into some fucking doom and then does it anyway because it's a cool counter spot, and I'm just like, so contrived. Like, I think the only part that I felt like that wasn't really on autopilot for this match between those four guys was like the Canadian Destroyer spot. Mm-hmm. And then there was one great near fall, and after that is like, you know, it's almost like you're watching like a superhero movie in the final third act, when it's like, okay, this is about to be a bunch of CGI effects and fireworks and I can almost like zone out and eventually catch back on whatever story beat is. It was one of those, and you know, like, I enjoyed the match. Like, you liked it. I liked it more than you did. And I remember you gave it 3.5. I was like, it's probably 3 3/4. But I was like, it's a title match. It's Jericho. It's MJF. It's the Young Bucks. Like, why does this feel like one of those, like, you know, not important?
Wait,
like,
one of those not important.
Huh?
I was gonna say the Bucks have slid this on TV between like what they did with the Acclaim, what they did with Top Flight, what they did with, I believe they had another match in that meantime, all better than this one. So
yeah, and even then, like, I felt like those weren't like the Young Bucks giving, I don't want to say mail it in because they're trying hard, they're killing themselves. Matt Jackson has, you know, the hot tag still going, but like even the hot tag was like one of those that he did. It felt like he was doing it like 80% speed compared to normal. But maybe that has something to do with MJF and Jericho being in the right place, the right time to do it, or whatever else. I don't know. But ultimately, I watched this match. I'm like, this feels like one of those like Candy Rush insignificant Dynamite matches that you'll see them do. Like, and the Young Bucks have like seemingly two gears. They either have like this 3.5 to 3 3/4-ish match on Dynamite that's like, that's cool with some team that, you know, they give a couple spots to, or a couple near falls to, and then they have like their real match, and that's just a whole star better almost. And it's like, okay, so I got like the TV match, the insignificant TV match on pay per view. Glad I tuned in for this. Like, guess we won't. Maybe in 3 months we'll get another one of them kick-ass Young Bucks matches, and that's what I was like. Okay,
look, there's one on deck. You know, we're gonna talk about it later, but
definitely. But it's like, but that also helps. Like, okay, so like, there's no personal feud stuff in this one, so they'll just go out there and just do a bunch of crazy shit, and it'll be awesome. As opposed to you lay out the story and then you like, no, toss the story out the window. We just want to do our match. So yeah, that's how I felt. Like, I was in the high 3s on it.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, knowing what I know about how at least 3 out of the 4 people other matches, it was always going to be some type of clash there, because I know Jericho's a call it on a fly guy and the Bucks are not. So I wonder where they met, you know, and I don't know if it was in the middle.
Well, I mean, given how much stuff they did and how, like, quote unquote intricate some of those contrived spots were, there had to be some speaking on them, like, we're going to do some stuff beforehand. Like, I don't think the Young Bucks are 100% everything is, you know, done beforehand. Like, I mean, some stuff, I think that, you know, we know some people that have, you know, done stuff with them, but I think, like, I doubt that they're like that all the time.
Right. So after that, we got the Casino Tag Team Royal match. So the Tag Team Royal Rumble. I thought parts of this were very good. As somebody that watches Dark, I was, you know, mildly entertained by seeing guys like Bear Country show up, who were just doing the big one. He was just incredible. What
are their names? One's Boulder, and what's the other one?
Boulder and Bronson.
Okay. Are both their last names Bear?
Both of their first names are Bear.
Bear Bronson and Bear Boulder? Okay. All right.
Or excuse me. Yeah, Bear Boulder and Bear Bronson. My bad.
Okay.
So we got a couple things that came out of this. I don't know if the SCU stipulation is in effect for the Royal Rumble here, because no one was pinned or anything, but I think they're going to gloss right over that. If I were them, I would. They
acknowledged it on commentary, and it's speculated that they wouldn't break up over losing a battle royal, and I was like, here's an idea. show them on camera mention that like a week before the show.
Yeah.
Or on the road to, or on BTE or whatever the fuck. As opposed to you speculating, because now people are, because I'm sitting there like, I thought they had a thing that y'all haven't talked about in like a month.
Yep. Cool thing with QT Marshall, like basically he threw out some members of the Nightmare family. Dustin's like, what the fuck are you doing? These guys are with us. And then QT's like, fuck that, I'm trying to win. And then he ends up saying fuck Dustin, eliminates himself and spits at Dustin. So QT turns, and I think this might play into that Lee Johnson thing that was getting set up. Kind of a thing there. You got Death Triangle in this match. You got the 3 Dark Order teams. I have all the eliminations here, so I will go through those. So QT Marshall threw out 5. Santana and Ortiz eliminated Mike Sydal. Santana eliminated Matt Sydal after. Austin Gunn eliminated Peter Avalon. QT Marshall eliminates the Gunn Club. Then he eliminates himself. Bear Boulder and Bear Bronson eliminates Stu Grayson. Jungle Boy eliminates Ortiz. Luchasaurus eliminates Cesar Bonini. Luchasaurus eliminates Griff Garrison. Jungle Boy eliminates Santana. Marco's stunt eliminates Evil Uno in just one of the most ridiculous like things I've like seen. He gives him like a Hurricane Rana thing, and then Evil Uno just continues running across the apron and then hits the pole and then is eliminated. I don't know what the fuck happened there. My dog Big Butch, he eliminated Brian Pillman Jr. The Blade and Jack Evans eliminated 10. Luchasaurus, Butcher, and the Blade and the Bunny eliminated Dustin Rhodes. The Boulders, Bear Country eliminated Luchasaurus, got him out of there. That was kind of an impressive elimination. Then we got to it with Butcher and the Blade, and Butcher eliminates both guys. Pac eliminates Mark Quinn. Ray Phoenix eliminates the Blade. Reynolds and Silver eliminate Isaiah Cassidy. SCU eliminates Butcher. Phoenix eliminates Daniels. Jungle Boy eliminates Reynolds. And we have a final 4 of Pac, Phoenix, Jungle Boy, and John Silver. And Pac threw up Frank Kazarian. We got a kind of a short mini match here. Pac and Silver got to face off, and that was something we said we wanted to see a long time ago on this show. That was kind of fun to see, but I think Jungle Boy and Ray Phoenix was the that was like kind of like the main thing here. They went about 3 minutes just doing all this lucha stuff. That was pretty cool. They ended up getting the win. Ray Phoenix got rid of Jungle Boy, and I think this is kind of like Ray Phoenix's like reward for all those main events since January. They were like, we got to give him something, so he's gonna win this battle royal, and it sets up Death Triangle versus the Young Bucks, and I'm fucking ready
for a title change for the match, because I don't think the Bucks need to come off them yet.
It's a tag title match. I don't think the Bucks will lose.
Okay, just for clarification, I didn't know what you meant exactly. Yeah, should be a great match. The Final 4 was a blast. It really was. It may have been the best wrestling on the show. The Final 4. So
match went 26 minutes. They did do something that kind of concerned me for later on. I asked around the room. I was like, "You guys think they should be showing the clock during this match, just kind of to protect that countdown thing for the main event or whatever?" But it didn't end up like coming back to bite them too much.
Oh yeah, that's not what bit them in the end. It was that dud. Yeah. I've heard people say that like maybe they shouldn't, or Meltzer, for example, mentioned like maybe they shouldn't do the shoot clock, but it's like they've always done the shoot clock, so I don't see a need to change it.
Yeah. So up next we had the AEW Women's World Title match, Hikaru Shida versus Ryo Mizunami. This match was a lot. A lot of everything. So a lot of time, a lot of near falls, a lot of past the peak, a lot of good stuff, a lot of striking, a lot of the crowd just kind of hanging out because I don't know if people watched the tournament that she won, but I thought I liked the match. I liked it more than the opener on the first watch. I haven't rewatched them or anything. Hikaru Shida retains, so that tournament, kind of, was designed to give Shida a new opponent. She holds onto the belt. What did you think of this, James?
I thought that the storytelling beats in the match all worked for me. They told the story that 10 years ago, somewhere, I can't remember I don't know promotion, I can't remember what it was, but when they first had a match, or they first met each other in a tag match, that Mizunami beat Shida and said, "You'll never beat me, in 10 years you won't ever beat me, right? In 100 years you'll never beat me," that sort of thing. Then they showed the video package of Mizunami winning either by count out or by pinfall, beating everybody with a guillotine leg drop off top rope. Then you remember when they, after she won and Shida came out, they shook left hands, which is, it's always weird when you see, because in Japan they shake hands with either hand, they don't give a fuck. So it's always like, it's weird. But so all of a sudden they shook hands with left hands. I was like, that's odd. And then all of a sudden they traded forearms while smiling, like like this is how we're gonna do battle. So all of that stuff got played into the match. Like, Mizunami comes in, she's doing her typical seedling third match in the tag match with Miyuki Takase, and dancing around, doing the Kojima type chops in the corner, and the dance and the invisible rope and all that stuff. And she's taking Shida lightly, and she's beating her ass.
Invisible rope shit is off-putting.
Say again?
I said that invisible rope shit is like an adjustment. Like, the first time you see that, you're like, what the fuck is this? And
I think
luckily it wasn't my first time seeing it. But
for a title match, you're like, what is this? For the story, I get it. It's like she's taking her lightly, and she's basically just running down Shida. And then Shida comes back, and it becomes a match. And once it becomes a match, they then get to basically the handshake spot where they're both in wrist control, and they start throwing forearms while with a smiling face back and forth. Like, we're actually here. Like, you're actually a match for me. Let's go. And then from that point, the match was great. And then they went past a minute or a minute and a half past what should have been the peak, and then it brought it back down. So for me, it's that last I don't know. There's a certain spot in that match where it's the last half was legitimately great wrestling, and then they went past the peak and they brought it back down
at a certain point.
Yeah,
I see.
Especially
early
early
on,
on.
got lost at a certain point. There was deep into the match. Actually, it was, I forgot what happened.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. There was a Falcon Arrow, and she sat up and she couldn't get the near fall. I know what you mean.
Yeah. So we actually had a question from MJ Does PR. I didn't put questions out, but he happened to put it in the Discord. He said, where do you rate Shida against the top WWE women? So I figured we could do Shida or. So
okay.
I'll just do Shida or, and I'll go through the whole roster. So
okay.
Shida or Alexa Bliss?
Shida
or Asuka?
Asuka.
I'll take Asuka as well. Shida or Becky Lynch?
In the ring?
In the ring, I'll take Shida.
In a vacuum, I'll take Shida.
Shida or Charlotte? I think this one is tougher than mostll would say right now, because I don't think Charlotte's been great of late. I'll still take Charlotte, though.
I'll take Charlotte in a vacuum.
Shida or Dana Brooke? I'll take Shida. Shida or Lacey Evans? I'll take Shida. Shida or Lana? I'll take Shida. Shida versus Mandy Rose?
Shida
or Mickie James?
Shida at this point in their careers.
Shida or Naomi?
Shida
or Nia Jax?
Shida
or Nikki Cross?
Shida
Shida or Peyton Royce?
Shida.
Shida or Mia Yim?
I say Shida.
I will go with Shida as well. Shida or Rhea Ripley?
I go with Rhea.
I am a push on that.
That's how I kind of feel. I would say that I think the athleticism difference is so glaring between those two.
I feel like one of them is wrestling way better the opponents than the other. And if we gave Shida's, if we swapped them and, did the opponents, I think we might get an answer.
Yeah, but then there's also the part where it's like, even on NXT, it's still restricted play racing as far as pacing compared to what Shida can do in AEW. So it's kind of there's pros and the cons in both. Like, you can pretty much have your match in AEW, regardless, even if the opponents there are less talented opponents. But everybody, even NXT, has to work a slower pace than what they're used to. Like, she couldn't have that flash of near fall, that race and pick up a pace of near falls with Shida and Mizunami last night. That doesn't happen in NXT or Raw or SmackDown.
Shida or Shayna Baszler?
Shida.
I will take Shida also. On to SmackDown. Shida or Bayley?
Shida.
I will take Shida as well. Shida or Bianca Belair?
Shida because of experience.
I will take Shida due to the experience and
she has more output too.
Major league, the rep, the major league reps that she's had.
Yeah, if she Jesus Christ, you know how good Bianca Belair would be if she was able to go to the tour Japan for 6 months.
She would come back incredible. Shida or Billie Kay? I'll take Shida.
Shida as well.
Shida or Carmella? I'll take Shida. Shida or Chelsea Green?
Shida.
I'll take Shida. Shida or Liv Morgan? I'll take Shida. Shida or Natalya?
Shida.
I will take Shida as well. Natalya, it's been a long time. Shida or Ruby Riott?
Shida.
I would be tempted to... I don't know. I feel like Ruby doesn't get opportunities.
That's true. That's true.
But I feel like she's a good worker. So I will still take Shida, but it's not a immediate Shida.
That's true. That's true. I dismissively said Shida or reflexively said Shida too fast. You're right.
Yeah. Shida or Sasha?
I take Sasha.
I'll take Sasha as well. Shida or Sonya Deville?
Shida.
I'll take Shida. Shida or Tamina? I will take Tamina.
What?
Excuse me.
What?
Shida. I've done too many of these.
Shida. The answer is Shida for that one.
And finally to NXT. So Shida or Leah?
Shida.
Shida or Candice LeRae? I'll say this. I like Shida's offense more.
I'll take Shida. I don't like Ants. That's really a push for me. But yeah, I'll take Shida.
I will skip Elena Black. Shida or Dakota Kai or Cora Jade.
Oh, okay.
Who used to be Elena Black, who's 19 years old.
Okay.
Shida or Dakota Kai?
I go with Shida. I think Dakota Kai would be better if she were in an indie somewhere or in AEW or whatever, but I mean, she's still the way they position her, they don't let her. She's a person that they treat her like she's a good hand, as opposed to letting her go out there and have her match.
Dakota Kai is the Owen Hart of women.
Kind of.
I will take Shida. Shida or Ember Moon?
Ooh, I take Ember.
I'm going to take Shida on this. It's been a long time for Ember, I think.
I mean, you have to. Well, I'm watching NXT and I'm watching these matches. She's still as good as she was back in 2017. So I go with Ember.
Shida or Priscilla Kelly?
Shida. I mean, I laughed that off. Look, Priscilla Kelly's pretty good, but I still go with Shida.
Yeah, Shida or Indy Hartwell? I'll take Shida.
Yeah, Shida.
Shida or Io?
Io.
I will take Io. Shida or Jesse? I will take Shida.
Like, Jesse's a jobber. This is like...
Yeah.
Like, it's weird. Like, okay, so, like... I don't know. Maybe there's something I don't know. She seems like somebody they will push.
Shida or Casey?
Shida. Casey's potential ceiling is higher, but like that's down the line, and I don't think she's reaching that while working the prelims for the division.
I don't think she's gonna make it.
There's a good chance that's true.
Shida or Kaden Carter?
Shida.
I will take Shida as well. Shida or Mercedes Martinez?
In a vacuum,
I'm going to take Mercedes.
Yeah, I'll take over Mercedes. In a vacuum, I'll take Mercedes.
Shida or Raquel?
Yeah, Shida.
I'm going to take Shida as well. Excuse me.
There are certain matches that
Santana Garrett.
Shida. There are certain matches that Raquel could have that like Shida just can't, but the same could be said on the other end, and I think there are more matches that Raquel can have that Shida can.
Shida or Shotzi?
Shida.
I'm taking Shida as well. Shotzi, like I said, goes from
spot monkey.
I think she goes from actively bad to like, oh, okay, that's not so bad. Shida or Tegan Knox?
I'll go with Shida because I know she'll be she can stay together long enough to be on the mat to
this
do it.
This is true. I will take.
Like, I think like the run that Tegan had before she blew her knee out, another knee out, was like, I see why they liked her so much. I see why, or like her, and I don't want to say past tense, but I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if her body's going to hold up for her.
Mm-hmm. Shida or Toni Storm? I think this is probably the closest one. This is a push for me because I think both of them have wildly disappointed at various points and stood out at others. So I'm gonna go push on this one.
I don't want to give a push. I've been able to not do a push yet. I'll give an answer. Give me a second.
Yeah,
all right. Okay, so I'll go with. See, the thing is, like, I've seen some of the like title matches some of the Red Belt matches that Toni Storm's had. Like, I don't think you've seen her best stuff. It's you're right. It's really fucking close. I'll go with Shida.
Yeah, that's pretty much all that's worth discussing. Like Xia Li, I'll take Shida as well.
Yeah.
Xia hasn't really had those chances. So hopefully that answers your question. The Shida or game.
So basically, like, yeah. So major Amrest on TV. She's somewhere in the top 8.
Yeah, at least like minimum. Like, you really want to get me going. How about we do Thunder or we'll go ahead and say that for another day. But yeah, man. Up next we got fucking Kip Sabian and Miro versus Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy. This show already started feeling like it was running long at this point. I was hoping that they would do the attack backstage, say they fucked them up so bad, the match is canceled, or it was some type of squash, and then it wasn't. And then it was just like, we got to wait for Orange Cassidy to run his ass out here to do the comeback. Fuck. And this only went 8 minutes of match time, but they got the backstage portion as well. It was a whole deal. Didn't enjoy this. And it has like a 4.5 on Cage Match. My God.
Yeah, so I really cannot give an assessment of this match because I was too busy like going back and forth with Josh arguing over which like 3 3/4 match was better between the Young Bucks match or the Shida match. So I really really don't have many answers for you. I just saw like the mic stuff with. Yeah. It obviously didn't grab my attention. Because it wasn't like me and Josh were having some heated thing. It was just like, well, this match is on. It hasn't grabbed my attention yet, so I may as well just keep have a conversation with Josh.
Yep. So it stank. They're trying to rebuild. Start with Miro. He looked dominant. He got the win. Up next, we had the big money match. Hangman Page beats Matt Hardy. I thought this was it fluctuated from different points. I wanted the 10-minute squash. I wanted the 5-minute squash. I was wondering why the fuck it was going on so long. It got competitive. It got compelling. I was like, oh man, these guys are actually trying to like kind of work hard here. Then it got a little long. And then it, at the end, it was like, oh, okay, it's time for more people to come out or whatever during another match here. And they did a cool thing where they flashed back to that battle royal, how, he got saved by the Dark Order in that battle royal, but this time that helped him win. I like that portion. But it was just kind of a standard match. We kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but
yeah, it's like a 3-star, 3 1/4 thing. It's fine. Like what was I going to say? Yeah, I like the work that Matt Hardy did on the hand, because like that at least gives like Hangman an out for wide, and he beat this dude quickly. So I did enjoy that storyline element of it. But it was kind of funny. I laughed. It was like, oh, okay, so like I guess Matt Hardy has now turned into like Pete Dunne technical worker guy. he's working. And I was like, where did this come from? But okay, it was a good match. It was a good match. It wasn't anything other than a good match though.
Yeah. And up next, I can tell you a match that was not a good match. The ladder match. So we had the ladder match. Scorpio Sky defeats Cody, Lance Archer, Max Caster, Pentagon, and the debuting Ethan Page. I believe I called that. That's not some type of special thing. Lots of people call that. But I'm very high on Ethan Page. Going back to him being an Impact. Scorpio Sky gets a win here. Cody Rhodes got booed in this match, rightfully, because he had to do some shit. Like, he got Canadian destroyed through a ladder, and they did the fucking carry off and all these extra dramatics, and he was sleeping essentially. Then he tried to run back in, and the crowd just gave it to him, and I was like, yes, boo him. But this never really had any type of flow. People was just waiting around to do shit. This didn't have the elite flyers. This didn't have super spots. I would say they did like things like
okay, they had some super spots, like catching a Canadian destroyer on a ladder bridge and then getting fucking powerbomb through a ladder bridge. Those guys, we can't just say those are just nothing. Motherfuckers almost died out there.
I just feel like, the ladder matches, like, there's so many of them, like, and this one didn't stand out in particular way.
Right. Like, this is about the worst ladder match you can. About this, like, how do I say this? This was a good match, but this was like for a ladder match in the grading off the curve of ladder matches, about as low as you can get on a competent ladder match. Like, I think there were things that hurt this match. Just things that just absolutely hurt this match. The Cody thing hurt the match. Him not going all the way to the back, but to actually just be off to the side, and then to be on the camera side, pulling focus from the guys that are killing themselves and doing bumps and stuff the whole time, while the biggest star in the fucking match is, what's going on with him? What's going on with him? Oh, never mind. Fuck you, Pentagon, that just fucking died over there. Fuck you, Lance Archer. Yep. So it was like that was just focus pulling. He's coming back in the match because the way they played it up. And then Scorpio Sky, he gets fucking Archer power bombs him through a ladder bridge. He goes the ladder bridge actually breaks. He basically lands on his head and neck as he crashes through the bridge to the mat. And then like Cody comes out and he wrestles after being out, after getting Canadian destroyed on the ladder bridge for like, I don't know, basically like the middle and the very end of the match, or until the third act of the match. And then like Scorpio Sky is basically like fucking dead. He took a worse bump than Cody did. And then like out of nowhere, Scorpio Sky gets up in like the last 2 minutes of the match and fucking wins. I'm like, Wait, what? Cody had a less severe bump than you did. Came back in the match after being out of it forever. Scorpio Sky sits for basically like 6 minutes, gets up, and he's fucking fine. I'm like, oh, this. Obviously, I don't know if this is all the plan, but it's like, okay, this hurts. This strains my credulity. It's like this is like what?
There was also a spot between Cody and Ethan Page where I immediately took to the group chat and yelled, "Cody Rhodes is the worst wrestler in the world."
What happened? I don't remember what happened.
I forgot what happened, but it will be on Botchamania. Like okay. There was, I don't know what happened, but like him and Ethan Page like just dropped each other and fell or some shit. Like, and it was just like, it was like, wow. I thought Caster's rap was like, he took all the right wing talking points, put them into a verse, and current event man the thing. He got kind of a response with it, but not too impressive to me. And I usually like Caster's stuff, but I guess he knows his audience.
Yeah.
I was not happy about this match. I thought this was, given it to Scorpio, it reeks of like, yeah, we got to get this guy going. And I'm begging Scorpio Sky, please be interesting. Attempt it. Please.
The thing that was with me was like, he was acting like a heel on commentary on Dynamite on last Wednesday. So, right. I mean, obviously,
seems like he could be going in that direction. So
yeah, that's what I'm thinking is like maybe it's a slow burn to get to that point. Yeah, I mean, all that stuff happens, and ultimately, like at the end, like they're all fighting, all 6 of them on these ladders and taking these bumps to go grab a fucking like mini
lifesaver thing, a sonic ring.
Yeah. Hey, Honey Nut Cheerio. Like, I just like, yo, bro, like, I get the joke, but like, that's fucking lame, bro. Like, I don't know what you put up there or whatever else, but like, let's not have it be a fuck WWE joke thing or whatever else that these dudes are gonna fall through ladder bridges and fucking almost and take, you know, take these crazy bumps for.
I'll take some fuck WWE stuff all the time, but like this was like bordering on descending into parody.
Yeah, because it's like you want to make that joke and shit. It's like we always make jokes about all these ladder matches that WWE does or NXT does. NXT ain't having no damn 3 flat star ladder match. Y'all did.
Yeah.
So maybe y'all should try the fucking brass ring if y'all gonna have this kind of fucking match.
Like I said, weird mix of guys from the beginning. A lot of bigger guys, and not the face of the revolution, as they say. Then up next, we got the street fight. And actually, no, up next, we got the reveal.
You know what? So, what? Actually, before we get to that point, why do you think they booed Cody? Do you think it's because it offended them because of the match and all these guys doing a bump?
The match layout.
Or do you think it's because it's like, we don't want to see you fight Darby again, dude? Why are you even in this match?
I think it was the match layout. I think they saw him go away. They're like, man, what the fuck are you doing? And it's just, Cody, you never know when you're going to need insurance, Cody. And you burn through all types of gimmicks, sideshow stuff, things in your matches where you are just doing shit that isn't the action. So when you try to hop your ass back in here, it didn't look heroic. It didn't look it didn't look like anything. It looked like one of those weird things they would do with Roman Reigns
or Brock Lesnar.
Yeah,
they did it with Brock a lot, like that 2015 Royal Rumble match, that triple threat match with Cena and Seth, where they fucking powerbombed him through a table, and then like Seth and Cena went out there and went nuts, and then the Phoenix Splash, and then Brock just swoops in and you know, German suplexes Seth to death. The that 4-way at SummerSlam 2017 with Samoa Joe and Lesnar and Strowman and Roman, where like they broke his ribs, and then he just comes back and fucking pins Roman at the end. It's like, okay, dude, like it it wasn't exactly that, but like I thought of like these times where like people get taken out of these matches. Miz has done that in a Money in the Bank match before, where like he's hurt and comes back later. But this one was worse because like he's actually out there pulling focus because there's people like he's in the camera shot the whole time on the hard cam.
Yeah, and there's like 10 people surrounding him, so it's just like all this extra energy being devoted to somebody that's just laying there. So it's like, come on, man. Then we got the surprise, the Hall of Fame caliber, talent was introduced, and it is Christian Cage. I gotta say, James, I have never been a fan of Christian.
I'm aware.
He's just someone that people have always told me he was greater than I actually ever saw. I don't think he has any particular like classics or anything. Like maybe him and Randy Orton in SummerSlam 2011. Maybe it's been a long time. Maybe I'll watch that after this to try to get some type of feel for him or something. But even then, that's fucking 9 years.
It's time for a reboot. Not a do-over, but a do-everything. A time to hike this, taste that, camp here, and road trip there. In a place that's wide open for new memories. South Dakota. Out here, adventure goes with the territory. Whether you're backpacking in Badlands National Park or diving into Lewis and Clark Lake. When you're ready, get back to nature and back to what you love. Get inspired at TravelSouthDakota.com.
This is Derek's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
After the third time jump-starting my car, I finally realized my battery was dying. So I stopped by O'Reilly to have it checked. They tested it right there in the parking lot. It was bad, real bad. But they helped me find the right battery for my car and even installed it for free. Now my car starts like new.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Years ago, he's old
actually,
as
it's
dirt.
10 years ago, because like those.
Oh yeah, 10 years ago. Yeah, you're right. He's old as dirt. He doesn't look old as dirt. I'll give him that. He is a good talker. He can probably wrestle anybody on the roster, big or small. But Josh brought up a great point. It's like, well, why do you have Matt Sydal here? So, like, do they do the same things, really? Christian can talk. Matt Sydal really can't. But if it's a thing is like having this older veteran teacher person, I'm like, yo, there's a lot of older veteran teachers that ain't teaching, it seems like. And I'm looking at the roster that they have. I'm feeling like I'm getting to that point where I'm like, yo, I need to focus on, the guys we always talk about that we always say are next. And I don't know if they feel like they need to wait for crowds to come back and they're hoping for good news at the end of this year or something. But in a week's time, you pull out Paul White, and I understand he's a commentator primarily, but eventually he'll wrestle. We know that. Christian, and they've signed Ethan Page, so I won't, ignore that. But Christian, and I don't know, man. It doesn't excite me.
I like Christian. I think that in the 10 years that I've watched Randy Orton from 2011 until now, I think that he is at worst Randy Orton's second best opponent. The other person would be Daniel Bryan. So like that's why I have an affinity for Christian. Like once we got back into wrestling, that summer of 2011 is like on SmackDown, him and Christian were out here having fucking bangers on SmackDown TV for the big gold belt. So like I have a soft spot for Christian. Also the match he had, I think it's 2013 SummerSlam with Del Rio was also great. So like I the people that were around and watched the TNA Christian Cage stuff, I understand why they're fans. But I see your point of it was like, that dude was number 2 in a tag team that sometimes played as geeks.
He's a vampire.
Yeah, right. They played as geeks, and like I understand the mind he has. I appreciate the mind he has. I appreciate like what he can bring to the table. I don't but given what you laid out as far as the number of vets already on this roster, I don't really know what he could do for them as far as like on screen that would make this worth it to take away, screen time from a Ricky Starks, from a Darby Allin, from a Jungle Boy, from a MJF, from a Griff Garrison, from a Sam Guevara, who from Top Flight. So I'm kind of at a loss for that.
Like the only thing I can think of is they feel like they're gonna have 4 shows a week eventually, right? 2 on YouTube, 2 on TNT, and they're like about to start saying, hey, we gotta have somebody on this show, we gotta have somebody on this show, and it's like, yo, man. So
are they actually gonna like strip down these rosters into being like a split roster, or do you think it's just like this person must do Dynamite like once every month, and then like then like the next week he'll be on the second show, and then they'll go back and forth? I mean, fine, but ultimately you still have that same issue where it's like that guy is more over than certain guys are at this current point in time, and him being there, just by being there, stops the trajectory or stunts the trajectory of the person that's on the come up. Like
unless he's wrestling them,
like Matt, like Matt Hardy, Jericho, now Christian, Sting, and it's like, all right, so what happens when like we come to the pay-per-view time? Are you gonna cut off? Is only one of them 4 going to be on the show? I think the fuck not. So
right,
that's my concern. Is like
my rule has always been, hey, don't be destructive. And then it's getting to the point where it's not necessarily the wrestlers that are being destructive. Yeah, it's not where the wrestlers are being destructive, but it's like what you said. It's like, whoa, you got so many of these guys. Who are you leaving off? And then like your young guys are going to end up getting the shorter end of the stick, because that's just how wrestling goes historically.
Right. And it's not like a situation where like you can have, I mean, I feel like they do so much shit, but like I don't think it's gonna be a thing where like you're gonna have X number of storylines for all these people, and then like people that don't make the cut, like you're just gonna burn that off like on the week going into and the week going out of Dynamite. Like I don't think you're gonna do that.
Like, they have done that at different times before, though. But
yeah, but my point is like now it's one thing to be one. It's one thing to be one match. Like you had to burn off the Shaq match because Shaq couldn't do the thing or whatever else. Or like NXT has had this problem too. But it's not like when you only have 4 pay-per-views. Like I think the thing I'm concerned about is like the more old guys you put into it, the more stuff you have to do. So therefore, like when you can, it's like, okay, we'll just burn off. Oh, we got to cut off this one match. Now you're like, damn, we got to cut like 3 matches now, and come to figure this out. It's like it could be a good problem, but it's like if you got to figure out where to put 3 matches for a pay-per-view build or whatever else on TV or whatever else, that means obviously is like the fallout from the pay-per-view is going to need more answers. Like, do you really want to fit 2 matches that weren't going to make the cut or whatever else? Because I figured that would like not help your rating. That's kind of what I'm concerned about. Like trying to find the hot shit and keeping it hot and then moving from transition or whatever else, was like you have this glut of stuff now. Then I'm concerned like trying to juggle all that with 4 shows or 4 old heads or whatever else, or more old heads than that. Like, because you even got the Daniel SCU shit. You got Paul White on commentary that's eventually going to wrestle. Team Taz eventually going to get in some shit involving Taz. Need to be on TV all the time. Like, I'm concerned. We'll see how they do. I'm only giving them the benefit of the doubt because they've done so well. But, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know, bro.
It's like, questions have to be asked at this point. And the questions, they illuminate when the card doesn't feel like it's going well. That's when you start looking for answers, and then that's what leads to your questions, I think. And we'll get to the next match here. Like I said, I'm not like really like no super fan of Christian or anything, but
ultimately, like for to have Big Show come out there and say all that stuff and to be Christian, it's like no disrespect to Christian because I like Christian, but nah, bro, it's definitely overselling.
Yeah, that would have been like Cena, Brock, CM Punk, something like that.
And they didn't have to do that. They didn't have to say that he was going to come out.
Say anything. You know how crazy people would have went had they been like, "Hey, we've got a guy that that you think is signed somewhere, but he's not, and he's going to debut Sunday." People would have been like, "Huh?" And then like Christian's music hits, they go fucking nuts. And then I'm like, you know what? He's fresh off the Royal Rumble. It is, it does look like, hey, on their side they're pushing Edge, and then you have Christian here, but it's like, man, I don't know about the timing on it. I think they could have been, better about that. Maybe even kick the debut until they've debuted plenty of people on the first show of the cycle, but yeah, I hope he can, wrestle some of the younger guys. Like I think him and Sammy or Ricky would be something to look out for. We'll see. So, but after that, we got the street fight. Darby Allin and Sting against Brian Cage and Ricky Starks. I loved this match. I thought it was immaculately shot. I popped like 3 seconds into it when Darby jumped off the wall and shit. I was like, what the fuck? Like, they're like, this man's real life Spider-Man type shit. They fucking roll up to the event and Sting has a fucking tape player in his car. And of course Sting has a tape player because like Sting's old. Uncle Sting has the tape and he starts Darby's music. Brian Cage rolls up in one of Shad Khan's cars. That shit looks great. I liked Ricky Starks' street fight attire. And I just liked, the presentation of it. The entrance was great. It felt like a music video and like some type of movie. Brian Cage looked like he's an old motherfucker that should be in a movie somewhere anyway, with how big he looked and the angle they were shooting him at. I wouldn't say this is the best cinematic match, but I would say like it is one of the good ones that are up there. So if this, I can't call this anything but a success. Like as far as like with the use of Sting, he ended up getting the pin over Ricky Starks, but you're not going to beat Sting in his first match. That would be stupid. I don't know anybody that would do that. Oh wait. Yeah, so I think from here, I don't know where Sting goes from here. Maybe he goes away for a little bit until it's time to pull him back into something. But yeah, like I said, I thought it was shot incredibly well. The special effects were great, and it felt a lot closer to like the Best Friends Proud and Powerful match than it did like a straight cinematic match like the Stadium Stampede or something.
I disagree with that one part. Not to say that it necessarily made it bad or anything. I just was like, I was entertained watching it, but I kind of came away feeling like it was utterly purposeless. Like, I don't feel like this got Darby over anymore. I don't feel like this got Ricky Starks over. I don't feel like this got Cage over. But I mean, it was well done, well shot. I had problems with some of the stuff where the lead in when they're all driving to the warehouse and like I'm trying to figure out like where exactly is this shot? Is it supposed to be like, oh, this is pre-taped, or is this supposed to be pre-taped, or is it supposed to be live? Because like they're giving us the commentaries if it's live, but clearly this is not the way it's been edited. Just I don't know I'm trying to figure out what location they're in, because like I see like Darby is like doing like doing tricks like skating by like Georgia Tech campus in Atlanta, and then it's like, so wait, are they are they in Atlanta? Are they in like Jacksonville? Are we not supposed to know where they are? Like, and then I was also like, okay, well, fuck it, they're in some fictional town. And then they went to go to a warehouse. I was like, okay, fuck it, they're in Gotham City. Fuck it, they're in Gotham City. Batman finna swoop through this warehouse and stop this dope.
They're
anyway,
in the hoodlum zone,
right? Yeah. So, I mean, so like for that, like I just was like, all right, whatever. But like the story was fine in it. But it wasn't a wrestling match, and I was kind of like, I want to watch wrestling. I feel like if they had did like a non-cinematic, like if they had done something similar to Backyard Brawl, right, where like they did it in one take, and they had a story for it where they all fight through whatever else and did it live. I feel like this would have came out a lot better when you have the commentary. But once you do it taped and edited, for camera angles, and then like they have like this ominous soundtrack in the background while they're doing commentary, I was like, pick a lane. Either we're giving you live. This is some type of sport, or what is the I can't get a handle on like the theme for this, not the theme, but like is this some live presentation, or is this like a movie? Which one? And so it kept that, like, the stuff around it bothered me more than the actual like work done and edited for it. Like, as far as that, like, that was fine, but like I was like, I just can't get into it. But it was fun. Like, I'm pretty sure on another watch there's probably more stuff on that I missed, as far as like while I'm in my mind like where are we?
Oh, there was one thing they clearly swapped Sting out for somebody. Like, oh, really? When he did like that sunset flip or whatever the fuck it was, there was a jump cut, and it was like there was like someone that was not Sting. I've never seen Sting move that fast. Okay. So I'm going to look that up and send it to you, because I don't know if it was Jeremy that pointed this out or somebody else there, but they were like, okay, that was an edit, and that was not Sting. So, okay. Yeah.
But it felt more like, less like, the cinematic stuff we've gotten out of AEW. It felt less like the Stadium Stampede and more like something out of Lucha Underground, as far as the look.
Yeah, man. Then up next, we got the AEW World Title match, the exploding barbed wire death match between Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley. This match, there's a lot to say on this. So I've been kind of trying to piece stuff together and figure out what happened regarding the big explosion. Apparently they got a bad bomb. Like, that's what it comes down to. They did get other bombs that were similar to that one or the same. Test those out. They liked how those explosions looked, and then this one, like, when it was time to go, it couldn't show. But before that, the match itself, I liked the match a lot.
I did too.
I thought it was. I'm big on presentation. It's a thing that I'm kind of evolving with in my wrestling fandom. So, like, when Moxley walks out with his leather jacket, says Mox on it, then he brings his drink to the ring, and I'm gonna take this fucking drink before I gotta go blow up. I liked all the explosions all around the ropes in the match. I didn't like the floor explosion. I liked Kenny coming out in the shirt, the deathmatch shirt for the match. I think that thing's gonna sell a lot. The Street Fighter, knee pads over the jeans. We've seen him do that before. He came to the ring dead fucking serious. It wasn't like there was no introduction. There was no type of nothing. Him playing around. This was like, it felt like he was walking to the ring at Wrestle Kingdom or some shit. Like he was dead fucking serious. And these two beat the fuck out of each other in this match. And as crazy as it is, like, it wasn't the greatest Kenny Omega match I've ever saw. It's not the best Jon Moxley match I've ever seen, but I have so much respect for both of these guys for being ambitious enough to try something like that. And in Kenny's case, that kind of like, that reinforces why he's my favorite wrestler of all time at this point. It's like he's willing to try this stuff, even if it doesn't, work out like that, because of the ambition in it. I think, like I said, I like the explosions. Today, I actually watched Funk and Onita for the first time to not really compare them or anything, because obviously there's a fucking huge difference, because Moxley and Kenny fucking smoked them work-wise. Like, it might as well have been Hogan in the ring, like in the Onita and Terry Funk match. But it was very dramatic, I would say that. And then the explosions, they had that on lock. Like, the explosions were great. The explosions, I think, were good at throughout the match. Then he takes the fucking Death Rider on the floor, and I think the air starts getting let out of the balloon, because the explosion on the floor doesn't sound off the way it's supposed to. That's a fucking insane bump that just kind of goes to the wayside because of the explosion. You're like, huh. But you're not remembering this guy took a fucking Death Rider from the apron to the floor.
Right.
Yeah, but they beat the fuck out of each other. It went long, and then he ended up getting the help from Gallows and Anderson. That was an extended period that I think, kind of subtracted from the match. But I thought they were getting great reactions. They were getting better reactions than anybody from doing less, because of the inherent danger. Everybody, like, they would lean towards the fucking thing and everyone go, oh, they would get all the holy shits during the explosions. They would, they did a cool kick out for the one wing angel with the explosion, because I was like, hold on, there's no fucking way. And I didn't realize what they were about to do. But in the end, Kenny gave him that one wing angel chair. And like I said, I gave this one 4 stars. So I think, but obviously we're not here for that. This is like, from there, much in like the Funk Onita thing, the match ends early or whatever, but there's some reason, like, they're in the ring. In the Onita case, it was like, yeah, they beat the fuck out of each other, but he wants to ultimately pull Terry out the ring because he knows this shit's going to go off. And then he runs back in the ring with like 10 seconds left, and then he's like, fuck, and then he covers up Terry, and they blow up the fucking smithereens or whatever together. And it's a great fucking explosion. In the AEW's case, they had it even designed masterfully with Kingston coming out here, which I said would happen one day. Like, the day he teams over Moxley, this shit's going to be like, everyone's going to lose it for him. Like, it's going to be great. And then the pyrotechnics just betrayed them and gave us an all-time video that's going to last forever. It was one of the lowest moments in AEW history, I would say. It was a moment that they just had to wear on the chin, because when you play with explosives, you never know if they're going to work. Whether it's the 4th of July and your firecrackers don't quite go off the way you think, or what. But like I said, I give these guys tons of credit. I thought they had an awesome match, but I had more of a problem with what Tony Khan was saying after the show than anything that the performers did in, situations that were out of their control. I talked a lot there, but what'd you think of that, James?
I like the actual bell-to-bell action, or a lot. I was irritated when they did the bumps on the apron. Like, why are you fucking wrestling back and forth on the apron to tease a fall onto these traps on the bottom? Because one of you idiots are going to inevitably grab the ropes or touch the ropes, and like fucking clockwork, they start touching on the stuff on the ropes and nicking the ropes or whatever else, and nothing goes off. No pyrotechnics or whatever. So so that pissed me off. And the thing for me is, like, if you're going to do the Sting Darby Team Taz match and take that so that you can set up all this stuff around the ring, then take the fucking ropes off the ring and put barbed wire run through the ropes as the ropes, like the barbed wire matches that you see. So that hurt it. and I remember like I was waiting for like the first bump or whatever else into the barbed wire, and like the first bump happens, and I saw the explosion. I was like, that's not good. That looks like a weak explosion. That did not look like any of these explosions I've seen in Japan. Doesn't like any exploding bat, or doesn't like any like barbed wire spots or whatever else. Like actually, this morning I watched Hiroyo Matsumoto and Nana Takahashi's barbed wire death match from 2019. I had watched it 2 years ago, but I rewatched it because like I remember the explosion being way better than this, and sure enough, it was. So I was like, I don't understand why these explosions look. Okay, so when I've seen these barbed wire matches or bat matches or whatever, exploding bat matches, like the pyro goes off in a way that where you can almost suspend disbelief that like electricity went through people's bodies.
Mm-hmm.
These blasts are like flashes, like gun flashes, like gun blanks. I mean, like gun blank flashes.
Yeah, and they were trying to depend on smoke rather than pyrotechnics.
Yeah, any type of concussive force. And I'm thinking to myself like, okay, so, and I'm looking the way it's rigged, like the explosions aren't actually coming from the barbed wire that's on the that's bound or around the ropes. That's wrapped around the ropes. It's actually like these 2 rows of wires that are like around. They're basically like wrapped around the post about a couple inches off. And I'm like, that's odd. Okay, so for me it's like I don't know if it's a fire code thing or what, but like this isn't like normal, the stuff you see in one of these matches, like normal stuff. So I'm thinking to myself like, why didn't they just do this shit outdoors somewhere where they can actually do it the right way, as opposed to, well, we already had one of these matches taped, we don't want to do another tape match or do an outdoors match, whatever. I was like, hey bro, I understand that, I get your concern for that, but like the way you planned this out, y'all, the match ended up being wrong. So like if they ever do this fucking again, they need to do it the right way and not worry about the live reaction doing 2 last matches or whatever else. Is like, if you can go away for one match and the crowd will sit there and watch it, you can do it again. Like especially if the alternative is you get a fucking dud go off. Especially the part where like if you take this match before, they could have done 5 fucking duds. We never would have known.
Yeah, man. I was watching it. Eddie Kingston comes out there, fights through them after they leave this nigga Moxley to die in handcuffs, bleeding.
Right.
Great heel work, by the way.
Hold on. One question. One quick thing. So the match, we get to court scenes in the match, and I'm really enjoying this match once they got back in the ring after doing the that crazy. Kenny's gonna kill himself with the when he took the Death Rider on the freaking
there was a bump he took early in the match where it looked like he didn't want to take it, like when he flipped into the table or whatever, but like he immediately like made up for it, like when he got drilled on that chair with the barbed wire, and then that fucking bump to the outside of the ring. It was like,
yeah, he's fucking crazy. So once Gallows and Anderson came, I was like, God damn it, here we go. Like, it's fucking no DQ match. We're like 25 minutes into this match now, and they come out and that shit is like, okay, so now I have to do the whole thing where it's like, it's no fucking DQ match. They could have came out in minute 1 and beat the shit out of that dude or whatever else. But whatever, they gave Moxley the bell with like 2 guys. It took 3 guys to beat him, and he kicked out of the One Wing Angel, so he had to get One Wing Angel through a fucking table or a chair to actually lose. Fine, whatever. They gave him protection. It's like I'm not like Jon Moxley's lost 1 time ever before this point in AEW over a year in time. Like he can lose a fucking game. It's fine. And the first time he lost, the same motherfuckers helped him cheat, or not the same. It was Callis actually, but whatever. So. Like, I'm thinking to myself when I'm like having to complain about they should have did this shit pre-taped, is like, well, I guess they're thinking like, well, how do you do the Kingston thing if it's outside? It's like, that's simple. Line up the heels on one side, line up the babyface on one side, like you do on Dynamite every single night, like they're just watching and they're fans and attendants watching the shit. And then Once they get down to like 15 seconds, whatever it was when Kingston ran in there, have him do the same spot by saying, we got to get him out of here. Fuck it, I'll go in there. I can't stop him. Fuck it, I'll cover him up. Blow the whole fucking state. Oh, don't blow full state. Let me relax it for that. End up some fucking non-fly list. But like, do the right explosion, and then like you have your fucking great match, and then not get hampered. But like with this Gallows Anderson interference, with this fucking dud, it's like, I don't know. It may have been a 4-star match, maybe in a 4 1/4 match. Was like, I can't. What was that?
Yeah.
So it's like, whatever. Like, I don't know what to do with that.
And sometimes, like, and this was Kenny's idea to do this match. Like, it comes back to him, and his ambition can turn into situations like these, because what if it doesn't work out?
But I'm not blaming the ambition I can't blame the ambition for the fucking power not going off. I have to blame the booker I have to blame the booker and the promoter and the fucking stunt team for not like having this shit figured out, or for them not to have the foresight that, oh yeah, this shit is kind of finicky. Maybe we should do this shit outside. Seeing that we already have these like lame blasts going off when they run into the barbed wire to begin with, maybe we should do this shit right.
Reportedly, he was furious backstage.
I'd be too. I got dropped on my head from like a 4-foot drop.
Yep. There was bleeding, cut up, all that shit. They went through fucking hell. Like, their match is gonna be lost to time or whatever. But yeah, like at the end of the day, the fucking bomb didn't work, and I didn't like what Tony Khan was doing as far as like all the cap they was doing on the call. And they're going to try to, I don't know if they're going to try to spin this into a storyline that Kenny built the bomb in the wrong way, and what do you expect? And I'm like, well, you've had kind of this great track record of like not being sleazy or lying to the fans like in egregious ways to where you have that, he has that insurance.
I would say the thing is like, I don't really care about the lying part as much as, because everybody has to have some level of game, right? Anybody. But like, you're insulting my fucking intelligence.
Right.
It's like, you didn't need to say that. All you had to do was come out and say, yeah, man, shit didn't go off. It didn't work. We'll try better next time. And then from there, if you need to give it a fucking kayfabe thing, I don't think you even need to do it. Be like, hey, man, shit didn't work. It is what it is. And then you make the joke, Kenny, or have my say, well, I guess he's a shitty, bomb engineer. He's a shitty terrorist. And then, and then you go from there. And like, this shit was like, it actually, that was the, have to spin it to, this was the plan all along. Like, if that's the plan all along, then we need to say you're a fucking moron. Because that was stupid.
Why was Kingston laying there selling an explosion that wasn't that was like 30 feet away from him?
Right.
Yeah. Overall,
getting looked at for medical assistance too.
Right. Laying there dying. I do love like Kingston coming in. If that explosion goes off like the way it's supposed to, I think it's fucking great, and I think that's a face turn for like the ages. But we'll see if Eddie Kingston can look. We saw Eddie Kingston talk himself into the best talker of the year. We're gonna see, can he talk himself out of this? Like, we are going to see.
So now, I have had this thought ever since it happened, and I was like, should I say this in the thread, or should I say this for the podcast? I decided to say it for the podcast, as they never brought up. So, given that, given Eddie Kingston's record in AEW, given the way he's lost on TV, at what point do we have to just say that this is fucking sabotage, and Tony Khan, in all actuality, in reality, fucking hates Eddie Kingston and doesn't want to actually hire him and really doesn't want him around, so he's doing everything to sabotage this dude because he's not realizes that good of a talker, and says, I'm going to do everything in my power. He's going to lose all the time. I'm going to make sure people don't give a fuck about him so I can get rid of him within 18 months, because that was fucking horrendous. You cannot this is your babyface turn. He's going to be the top babyface in the company. Well, here, hold this. We're going to make it like a plate of piss. There you go. You go out there and you get medical assistance for a fucking bomb that never even went off. You sound like a jackass.
I think that's a rather results based way of looking at it.
Yeah, you're right. Results. The results is he gets pinned all the goddamn time. Tony Khan hates this man.
The results of the bomb not going off, you know, like it's all in the follow up on this. Like if it's me, Eddie Kingston's opening Dynamite with the mic, and I'm like, hey, talk us out of it, Mr. Great Talker, save us. You know, like save yourself. Shit. But,
would it be better if they just pretend this shit never happened and moved on?
There's an argument to be had on that.
Like, why can't they just treat this shit like the Nightmare Collective or Nightmare Initiative? What was it?
You know what they do? Because I actually saw some of the pictures. The pictures from this shit look good, actually. So you open Dynamite, right? And you don't show the video, but you show all the still frames and the audio, and the frames look awesome or whatever. And you're like, oh shit, in there.
You can't get away with it. Yeah. That shit looked too bad. Like, and the best part is, like, if you go back and listen to the audio, that shit, that Doug doesn't go off, and like everybody on commentary goes silent except for Excalibur, and Excalibur's trying to sell it, and Ross and Callis and Shivani are just like, nah, bruh, you got it. You ruin your fucking credibility. I'm not an idiot. I was in WCW. Look, I was in WCW when that shit went down the toilet. I know when some shit is bad. I'm letting this shit go. You have it. Ross is like, look, bro, I had to call for Vince Russo. I know bullshit when I see it. You can have it, Excalibur. Callis was talking all that shit, and that's the quietest I've ever heard. That's the quietest I've ever heard Callis in my life. He ain't say a fucking mumbling word. He's like, nah, bro. Hey, man, I need to get the Impact. I gotta get out of here.
I'm out of here. I'm rolling.
To the Impact
zone. Going back.
Yes.
I'm closing the door.
Hey, man, let me get Kenny out of here. This bullshit ass close to a show.
Yo, all time, like, bad right there.
So you said this is among the worst moments in AEW history. What's worse? Am I mistaking something? Am I forgetting something?
I would have to think about that. But overall, this card, if you think about all the great cards in AEW history, was the reverse of it. What brought AEW to prominence was great wrestling, great storytelling, and like serving the fans in a way that just, they wanted to be served. I think what happened here is they got too cute. They used way too many gimmicks in this show. Way too many. Like it feels like they didn't have the heart to leave people on the bench here. And then ultimately they tried to promise something that they couldn't deliver ultimately at the end of the day. And they thought they could deliver it, but didn't work. Yeah. Didn't work. And it's not the end of the world. The company's not going to fold because of this or any inflammatory shit you've probably seen the last 24 hours.
I haven't seen any of that, but that sounds funny.
It's WrestleMania.
Shut the whole promotion down.
It's a free cloud giveaway. Look, it's a free cloud giveaway right now for dunking on AEW, and they've been waiting, and that's their prerogative. They hate it exists in the first place. So I think AEW would be fine. Just move forward with your storytelling and don't take notes on what happened here, because it wasn't just the explosion that ran this pay-per-view into unfavorable territory.
Yeah. The reason why I asked you if you thought where do you think this ranks at the bottom of AEW pay-per-view history is because regardless if you think AEW or AEW All Out 2009 or 2020, if it was worse as far as a card, I don't think I ever at any point before thought that AEW misjudge what the crowd and their fans wanted watching at home or in the stands. I think this is the biggest misstep. You come out here with, we got the biggest surprise ever for you. Oh, Christian. We got another person in the battle royal, or sorry, the ladder match. Oh, it's Ethan Page. We're going to give you the final blow off to our greatest feud in our biggest feud in AEW history, and we're going to end it with a fuck finish where goons assemble and beat the babyface, and then we're going to blow them the fuck up. Except we didn't pack enough fucking dynamite to blow the fucking thing up. Like it was like, yo, these are missteps of just the Cody thing as well. Like this is like, yo, when do you think that we wanted any of this? Mm-hmm. And I've never like came out of an AEW show feeling that way before. As far as like top, up and down throughout the entire show, just like, nah, that's not what people want. Yeah, or half of it anyway. It's like half the stuff people did not want, or they're just completely just misjudged or whatever else the night of. So obviously the bomb being the doubles under control, but like a lot of the stuff that we talked about, like that was stuff they could have controlled. Yeah. And ultimately they could have taped that fucking match too, and just to be sure. Like I'm sure the next 5 years we're gonna get another one of these matches. I bet that bitch is taped.
Would you want to see one? Like, because I'm of the mindset that you take some time, you wait for this shit to dial down, whether it's 2 years, 3 years, mm-hmm. and then you try this shit again. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be Kenny and Moxley, but like,
oh yeah, I meant like for another big blow off feud for another feud. I didn't mean for any. I don't need to see Kenny Omega or Jon Moxley in AEW do any other gimmick matches, gimmick death, no DQ, anything goes matches for a while.
All clean matches from here.
Like for a while,
all
like
clean
Kenny Omega,
here,
Jon Moxley. I think for a while, like a good 6 months to 9 months, they don't need to do any of that bullshit. Or I don't see bullshit like those are bad things, but like as far as like the extra stuff, like nah, man, just have matches. It's fine. And if
where's Kenny go from here? Because I saw a little chatter around him, like like you got to reel him in. You got to like some people were. I think they're being a bit hyperbolic. They're calling to take the belt off of him for this, and I'm like, I don't know if this is like I'm like
mid-December. Get out of here! No, I'm not doing that. It's February or March actually. So another thing is like, if you take the belt off him, who do you have take the belt off of him?
Right.
Like we don't have no more contender right now after Jon Moxley.
It's like you have to take time and figure that out, like because
is it Hangman?
All those guys in
mid card Hangman right now? No.
I'm like that Hangman. Like you gotta shepherd him through the people that we were talking about last week. He's got to go through another gang or something,
right?
So. If it's me, what I'm doing with Kenny, looking down the road, that's there, but he's tied up in the tag team stuff a little bit. Maybe you go to Pentagon.
Maybe. It seemed like we're going to get another pack match eventually.
Oh, Eddie Kingston. That's right. You'll probably end up there. You tried to kill my friend, you motherfucker. Like, and all that stuff. So, let's see.
For Dynamite or pay-per-view?
I don't know. For it to be coming right off of this show, I would probably lean towards like that middle portion. Pay-per-view, whole another monster. They've got lots of time to get somebody ready. So, but like I said, too many gimmicks, not enough like classic style wrestling, and I think they just got really cocky. They saw Revolution coming up. They tried to, they knew what Revolution was and what it meant to people last year, and then they just kind of did a show that it didn't feel like AEW. Like Dynamites feel like way hotter than that show felt. It was strange all night. So bad show.
You think it's actually a bad show? I'll probably go like thumbs in the
it's
middle.
weird because I think it's good. I think there are good parts of the show, and then like there are like unforgivable things I think that just made people feel a certain way about it. And the feeling is big beyond this. As much as the feel carried Revolution to like show of the year status last year, that feel beyond the show, like yes, statistically, or you start going through each one of the matches, you might find there's more matches you like on here than you don't. However, all of it didn't feel right. Like there were lots that didn't feel right. Excuse me. But so disappointing show. They move
cage
on.
Matches a 7 out of 10.
Yeah. So and if this is like, yeah, this is the standard they've set. So yeah, it happens. So they had the match, obviously, that couldn't take place on this show on Dynamite. We're going to just talk about that and wrap it up here. But Shaq and Jade Cargill versus Cody Rhodes and Red Velvet. My God, was this better than any it had to be? Shaq looked like he didn't cared, and he was awesome. Did a big power bomb. Cody, for everything we banged on him earlier in the show for. This was like almost his finest hour. I thought Red Velvet was awesome. She looked like a star. And Jade, what can you say? Like, if you don't see it, you're not looking, or your eyes are broken. So I thought this was like the perfect match to do with them. Shaq took a big table bump that was awesome. It's like the table just disintegrated around his 300.
Say that again.
They did a great. Yeah, I said the table just disintegrated around his 350-pound body. It did a great number. I believe they were up to 1.3 at the peak of the match. This was like wildly successful in a way that I didn't imagine.
Yeah, this exceeded all reasonable expectations, while also acknowledging that they didn't do much of anything, and that's perfectly fine because pro wrestling isn't just the moves. Like, this turned out, it is funny, like, after it happened, I thought to myself, like, should we have been surprised that a 7'1", 340-pound guy that's been fucking charismatic and a household name for the last 25 years, and charismatic enough to have commercials for all these national brands, that he could fucking do professional wrestling?
Right. Like, he could easily be like if Shaq comes along in like the Territory era, right? Like, you tell me he couldn't be what the fuck Andre the Giant was, and he's bigger than Andre the Giant.
He's a better athlete than Andre ever was.
Yeah.
And he's actually really 7'1". He was like, he's not 6'9" in line about. Like, so the thing for me is, like, when it came to the Shaq thing, is like, he does that stuff. He doesn't have to do much. Like, and it's funny because, like, you look at the chops that he did, is like, he didn't hit Cody as hard as he could have. He could, how bad those shots would have been if Shaq actually tried to hit him as hard as he could. Like, he's like, for Shaq, he's hitting him light, but Shaq has the biggest hands in the world, so like, they sound off like the Big Show chops. Cody gets his chops back. Shaq sells one, and like, he no-sells the other one, and so he's like, oh my God, this giant is impervious to pain. And then you're off to the races with like
selling in this match. Like,
yeah.
I don't like I don't know why nobody sell.
Yeah. So then you end up getting Red Velvet and Jade in there, and like they did their thing, and that was equally as entertaining. And the similar thing with Jade. Like, Jade is such a Amazon goddess type, figure with the physique and the size and the look.
She should not have been in the audience at Revolution, by the way.
No, the best part about it was like everything that was done whenever they caught a shot of her. She was thoroughly unimpressed. It was fantastic. I loved it. Like, she was like, okay, like, but she didn't sell anything. Oh my God, that's great. She was like, oh, okay, like I do this too. It was great. But yeah, it was just with the Cody spot, like with the crossbody over top rope through the tables with Shaq. I don't know how they got clearance to do that. Obviously, Shaq loves taking bumps. He's been doing it on inside the NBA for years, doing the fake, fall stuff for years for laughs. So, but that's a different thing, going through a table with a grown ass man on your chest, and you're going through 2 tables and you're 300 some odd pounds. It's a lot more force than normal. So kudos to Shaq, kudos to Cody for putting this shit together. The only part I did not like about this match is when he destroyed all of the Nightmare family over by the babyface section. I wanted him to put QT through the table. I really did. But he he snatched him up and let him go. I was like, damn. Look, I had joked. I was like, if he put his hand to the table, I'm going to type in 5 stars for the match even finishes. I was ready to do it because I hate QT so much. But yeah, like, it was a blast to watch, and it was a hats off to all 4 people involved. I think it was a huge success, and quite frankly, had this been on the pay-per-view, this pay-per-view would have been the best match on the show. And it would have been better. It would have been a lot better than Cody did. That latter match is better than that. So, if you replace that out or you add that to the show and take something off, put something else to the pre-show, it would have added to the show, definitely.
Yeah. Well, yeah, man, that's all I had, really.
Yeah.
So, hopefully they get back to it. And, I, as a big AEW fan, this one was not one to like beat your chest about, but also you can't run from this shit like
tweet. Nah.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be perfect all the time. That's pro wrestling.
Right. It's like, and to be to be fair, like, I feel like I'm seeing better reviews on this show than I thought, but I don't know. So they move on, and they'll have another opportunity. So
yeah, I agree. It sounds like a good stopping point of this show. Thanks for listening, y'all. Be sure to raise whatever app you're using to listen to this with. Go to prowrestlingtees.com/socialsuplex and pick up some official Social Suplex Podcast Network merchandise and listen to other shows on the network. You have this show, One Nation Radio. You have Keep It the Strong Style. You have the Ricky and Clyde Wrestling Podcast. You have Grumman Watches Shit. You have the Great Consequences Podcast. You have 8-Bit Suplex. You have All Things Elite. And you have Great Match Generator. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Peace.
You could win free groceries for a week, month, or a year in Shop, Play, Win Monopoly at Safeway. Score bonus tickets when you buy featured items tagged throughout the store, like General Mills cereal. Select sizes are 99 cents each with your Just For You weekly digital deal. Some limits may apply. Download the Shop, Play, Win app to play today. No purchase necessary. See rules at www.shopplaywin.com. Hasbro is not a sponsor of this promotion.